Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on this 8-inch entryway. If you haven't seen the first video, we'll put a link in the description of us starting this project. I'm super excited about this project because there's a lot to learn about fitting pipe and like these custom cuts or branches or 90-degree saddles, whatever you want to call them. So I'm just excited to share this project with you guys. So the first thing I'm going to do today is go ahead and make this other cut on the other 8-inch. This is our upright, and we got another upright over there. And then these two pieces are going to be the overhead. We're looking for a 24-foot opening. I'm going to cut that other saddle, move the pipe, move that over here, get everything situated and square, and then play with the overhang here because there's going to be a roughly 2 or 3 foot overhang and then a 6-inch piece of pipe here. But I want to know what looks the best as far as the amount of overhang we're going to have. So to do all that, I just want to get everything set up, get the space I need, 24 foot, and then get everything squared up and just take a look at it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and move this pipe around. So this right here is a big no-no whenever it comes to pipeline pipe. You do not want to use a pipe wrench to roll the pipe because it puts little divots in it, and that's not good for pipeline pipe. In fact, on fabrication pipeline jobs, guys will make pretty much this same thing out of a piece of pipe and 2 more pieces of pipe or sucker rod or whatever. That way they can roll pipe without damaging it. But on this stuff, it's not that big a deal. There you have her, folks. Yet another 8-inch saddle. Come on. All right, so here's our setup. Some of you might be asking about this table. We do not carry those in the AROSSWELDING store yet, but we most definitely can if any of you are interested. It's a super handy table here. Lots of little trinkets, grinder holder, 2-foot square, things to take your torch nuts off, and a piece of angle. Anyway, figured some of y'all might be asking about that. If you're interested in how I did this, you can check out last week's video, or the first video of this series. I wanted to bring up real quick about rolling pipe on jack stand. Be super careful whether you're using regular jack heads or rollers, which is what I have over here. Either way, the pipe will walk, so be super careful whenever you're rolling pipe. Because you can see here I sprayed WD-40 where my jack was, so from turning it just 2 or 3 times it walked that far. So just a little safety note, be real careful because the pipe will walk. and fall off the stand. So just pay close attention. All right, now let's get this thing squared away. So here's what we got. Got my spacing between the two, which is 24 foot. Got it square, but before I go any further, I wanted to go ahead and make this weld on this pipe. I could have made it to begin with, really and truly, but I just hadn't yet. But I can go ahead and make this weld here. That way this is all one continuous piece, and I've already got laid out, you know, where I need to cut it. I'm gonna cut it here, 45 right here, which is something else that we're going to be laying out from the blue book, and then putting our 6-inch pieces right in here. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make this weld and then go from there. All right, so I don't know if y'all noticed whenever I was moving some of this pipe as I was tapping the jacks. If you'll take a hammer and tap your jack head the opposite way, you do it on both jacks, your pipe will walk through the jacks. So I need to brush these bevels off right here. So to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and tap these two jacks on this piece to move this piece back a little bit, brush them bevels off, and then move it back. So since I want this pipe to move this way, I'm gonna tap the jack head that way. So it's already moved, oh, what do you say, about a ½ inch or so. So one thing that I do want to point out, the difference between this pipe work, the structural pipe work, and like pipeline work, is what I'm doing here with the prep. The prep on this stuff is not as big a deal. For one, we're not x-raying it, and for two, it's just not that big a deal. You know, there's nothing. I mean, I definitely want to get some penetration in here because this is going to be a 24-foot span here. So I definitely want to make a good weld, but it's not as big a deal on this. In fact, some guys probably wouldn't even have buffed this little bit of paint off, but some of that's, personality. Like it's just easier to weld. I mean, once you get an arc going, it would probably weld just fine, but I just like to buff a little bit of paint off the ends here. So some of this buffing of the paint is personal preference, but on like a pipeline job, we would actually separate the two. That way it's easier to buff, and you can actually do what you need to the face of each of these pipes. But here, it's not as big a deal on this as it is on a pipeline job. Now, to move the pipe back, we're gonna hit the jacks the other way. Boy, I tell you what, pretty good little old fit, ain't it? So I'm just taking two 2-foot squares and making sure they're, you know, up against here real good. And then bringing them together and taking a look down where they meet right here. It's also not a bad idea to check it on the other side. And again, not too shabby. But also, like I've talked about in previous videos, it's not a bad idea to look down the end of it to see what is quote unquote appealing to the eye. Because the structural pipe, any pipe really, but this pipe may have, you know, a bow in it or something. So it's like, even though that fit might be good right up there, you know, 2 foot on either side of that weld, it's not a bad idea to stand back and look at it, make sure there's not a dog leg or anything in it. So it really looks pretty daggum good. So this here is line-up clamp. Matthew Dearman also sent me. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on here and then set these little adjustment dogs here, and then grab me a tool. Give me a little space, little daylight. And now we are ready for attack. Let's go fire this machine up. Get my welding gear on. Get a drink of coffee. Oh no, it's not good at all. Son of a gun, son. If ain't one thing, it's another. Well, my old weld machine wouldn't start. So I'm gonna have to use my little TIG 200. I checked my battery. It's showing 12 volts, so I'm pretty sure it's good. So I got a new starter coming. Won't be here till tomorrow. So it's always something, always something. But either way, we're still gonna make this weld. All right, where were we? We was fixing to put a tack in this bad boy. Some of you might be wondering why I am re-squaring and leveling this pipe. That is because for the past 2 or 3 hours, I had been working on my welding machine, and through my years of experience, I have learned that it is a good habit to check your work whenever you've been away from it for a couple hours. Really, overnight's worse, but like whenever you're fabbing something, I don't care if it's pipe or square tubing, doesn't matter. Whenever you're fabbing something in jack stands on gravel or dirt, you always want to check your work whenever you've been away from it for a few hours, because something might have settled here and there. So it's just a good rule of thumb to check your square right before you tack if you've been away from your project for a minute. Welding pipe with a TIG 200. Not too shabby. It has been a minute since I put a bead in a piece of pipe, and I love it. I absolutely love it. so refreshing. Yep, definitely been a minute. A little hot pass on some quote-unquote 250 wall. It's a little over 250 wall, but anyway, yeah, this little weld machine's welding good. Welding a lot better than I thought it would. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, welds good. It kind of reminds me of an old short hood welder. Kind of breaks arc here and there, but a lot of your electric machines, like wall plug-ins versus engine driven, from my experience anyway, they tend to break arc a little more often than like an engine driven, besides a short hood, but it's not too bad. And this is why welding pipe is, especially downhill, there's something relaxing about it, man. If your weld machine's welding good and this 80-10 welds a lot better than 60-10, it just, once you get in that groove, it just feels nice and neat, man. There's something about it. I think that's why it's addicting, you know. Wow, never realized how obsessed you are with something until you go without it for a while, huh? Feels good, ba-da-da-da, the way that it should, ba-da-da-da. All right, all right. Ding, 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 ba-da-ding, ding. I know, we didn't get to the 6-inch 45s, but the reality of it is, in a project like this, there's a lot of time in moving pipe and squaring pipe. You know, the bigger the pipe or material, square, don't matter, the more time it takes somebody to move it, to get everything square and plumb and just make everything right. Fabricating just takes time. That's one thing I wanted to point out, because if I remember last week I said, next week we'll be doing 6-inch 45s, and we didn't get that far in this video. And I don't want to make my videos 30 minutes or more if I don't have to. Obviously that's helpful to some, but I know some people have a short attention span like I do, so I don't want to bore you with too much information in one video. So next week we will get to the 6-inch on a 45. But thank you all for coming along with me. I hope you learned something in this video. Thank you guys for all the support, ordering the blue books from the store. We sold out, we got some more coming. Circle burners are back in stock. A lot of you have been asking about the circle burners. If you have any questions about the circle burners or the straight torch that you need for the circle burners, we will put a link of a video that I've made called something along the lines of the trick to cutting out a perfect circle every time. In that video, I actually put on the screen the part numbers and everything that you need for your size of torch. We'll put that video in the description if you're wondering about that. Again, thank you guys for all the support. Another thing that I'm excited to share is we hope to be getting some welding shirts that have brass snaps instead of just the white pearl snaps. We hope to be getting an order of those, so stay tuned for those. I don't know when yet. It won't be like just real soon, but the next time we put an order in, we will be getting some brass snaps. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, learn something every day.